Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and today I've got a game on toxicity. I'm going to demonstrate a strategy with Reaper-17 against Steel Talons. A lot of people nowadays say that Steel Talons, they dominate the meta, which is a far cry from years before where they were considered to be a weak faction. Well, nowadays they are very strong with their mammoth tanks. That turret turn speed, as well as many of the other changes affecting Steel Talons, has made them a formidable force. It is now one of the best factions in the game. So that is the current status quo. I'm going to be playing as the Reaper-17, so I'm playing as the other heavy hitting faction, which relies on tripods. Reaper tripods, incredibly powerful. It's the identity of Reaper-17. They're tripods which are even more formidable than the Annihilator tripods because they got the conversion beam, which will allow them to suck up Tiberium much like the Devourer tanks can, increasing their attack damage by 15%. It is only 10 shots, but you can increase that to 20 shots if you upgrade the conversion reserves upgrade, which doubles the storage capacity. Now, this is pretty much me playing versus random. I didn't know what my opponent was, so the opening build I did isn't ideal, isn't optimal, but now I know I'm versus a GI faction. I try to pull back a buzzer there. It's always good practice to do so just for warming up. Even if you don't accomplish saving that buzzer, it's still good for warm-up. Anything like that early on is great, because if you can win a micro engagement later on with Seekers, with those Shard Walkers, with units such as the Storm Riders, then that's even better for you. Perks of playing Reaper-17, there are quite a few of them, and many of you guys may not be aware, but the first of which is their Shielded Harvester has more health than the Scrin Harvester. That is even with the shield not on the unit, so it has more health than the Scrin one. They've got the Shard Walker as well, which deals more damage. It's 30% more damage than the Gun Walker. However, you do pay a little premium for that additional damage. It's $800 for that Reaper-17 faction. However, they do get the Blue Shard upgrade, which further increases the attack damage to plus 60% relative to the Gunwalker. So it's a formidable unit, and it's much better at dealing with the Hammerhead, particularly the Zircon variant with the Blue Shard upgrade. Now, Scrin factions in general, they are pretty eco-heavy. You may have seen me do strategies on one base with Traveler 59 with infantry, but when it comes to Reaper-17 and Scrin Vanilla, your best bet is to go eco and make a lot of harvesters. I recommend 8 harvesters through refineries before building units. You want to build units from a portal after 3 refineries, typically, just in case your opponent is doing a push on 2 war factories. Disintegrators are excellent at holding off any sort of early aggression. I saw an MRT. There's no second war factory out for my opponent. My opponent, by the way, for all of you who don't know, is Phoenix. So I'm not playing a low caliber player here. I'm playing someone who is exceptionally skilled and has a lot of games under his belt. This game, I'm going to be anticipating Firehawks. That's why I'm transitioning into a double gravity stabilizer. I can fund this because I've got 8 harvesters. I've got 3 refineries. I am going to forfeit the blue Tiberium to him, but that's not a big deal. As you can see, I'm floating $3,000. That's going to allow me to produce these Storm Riders here. I've got a couple groups of the Shard Walkers and Disintegrators, so I'm not going to really die to Pitbull Harass Titan there. I do spot harvesters of the Scrin don't get crushed by Titans. That's one nice thing about the harvesters there. Not going to really accomplish killing this Spike. I didn't realize he didn't have any riflemen in those MRTs. But yeah, he's got the MRTs, and he is just going to sit in his base while I push him with these Disintegrators. I'm establishing 8 Storm Riders. Power down that Warp Sphere as well. I don't really need to make any vehicles. This middle attack isn't going to accomplish anything. However, my attack in the north will be able to secure 1 harvester kill. I used the Tiberium Vibration Scan, which is free for the Reaper-17, so whenever you can use it well. It combos really well with the Shock Pod support power, which you get by purchasing the Signal Transmitter. It's unlocked with the Signal Transmitter. spawns 3 veteran shock troopers anywhere, and that can be even in the revealed Tiberium used by the Tiberium vibration scan. Now, there's a lot of rock paper scissors going on here. I built Storm Riders. My opponent knows I'm going Storm Riders already. As you see, he's already got a lot of Pitbulls. That's why my next move after this is going into Ravagers and Shardwalkers. Why Ravagers? Well, they deal a lot of damage to low armored units, such as Pitbulls, such as Wolverines even, and the MRTs. I can also get some Shardwalkers too, and these 2 units combo really well because both of them benefit from the Blue Shard upgrade, which is a $2,000 upgrade for Reaper-17. Only takes 1 minute to research, that's 15 seconds less compared to the Shard launchers, and it benefits more units compared to Shard launchers. Shard launchers, you only get them on the Seekers and some base defenses. But you want to be really on the offense. You don't want to sit back and camp up with photon cannons. That's not how you win games. So I'm going to go for this Blue Shard upgrade here. Tried to snatch some of that blue Tiberium, but I was met with some resistance. The Storm Riders, I know my opponent is going for Firehawks, but I'm just going to keep them near to my Storm column. The Ion Storm will buff my Storm Riders. It will reduce incoming damage by 25%. It will increase the damage of my Storm Riders by 15%. And that buff duration is 15 seconds. It's a little bit more in the community patch. In vanilla, it's 10 seconds. So leaving those Storm Riders overhead there is a great thing. If I move them out away from my base, I'm going to lose them to the Firehawks. It's going to also force my opponent to keep his Hawks on the anti-air loadout. I've got my Blue Shard upgrade online, which is going to benefit, once again, my Ravagers and my Shardwalkers. Firehawks try to sweep in. They kill the Warp Sphere, but that's not a big deal for me. I've got the Ravagers, I've got the Shardwalkers, I'm moving in here. These units are going to fall pretty quickly to the power of these Ravagers. Look how much damage these are doing. Those forces just getting absolutely evaporated there by the power of these shards. Now I can't engage the Marv, for obvious reasons. That has a lot of health, and not only that, it has a lot of resistance to gun damage. Mammoth tanks and the Marv have a ton of resistance to gun damage. That's why I'm going to make a transition here into Shock Troopers, which deal a different type of damage, which is called rocket damage. And rocket damage is great against aircraft and it's great against vehicles. In R20, Shock Troopers have received buffs. They have more health now. So those are going to be a great unit for me to transition to, especially since I have limited vehicle production. Now, remember in the start I mentioned that Mammoth tanks are really good for Steel Talons. Well, my opponent isn't wise to build them because I have a lot of Shock Troopers, I have a lot of Ravagers, I've got these Storm Riders. So he has to focus his attention and efforts into these Wolverines and Pitbulls, which is really highlighting the weaknesses of Steel Talons. And this is why I am making this video here, because a lot of people struggle to know what to do. They keep going for tripod spam, when there's more in the Reaper-17 arsenal than just tripods. Infantry now is very viable for them. If you combine infantry and aircraft like I did in this game with the Storm Riders, then it can work very well. Marv moving into my base to try and harvest that tier field, but a tripod there will await it. And the Storm Riders just flying over that Storm column will be enough to deter this Marv. This Marv tank has not much hope to retreat, and I'm going to prevent this Marv from escaping. The reinforcements from Phoenix are approaching in the middle, but they're met with the Ravagers and Shardwalkers. There's no watchtowers there, there's no hammerheads. He can't really take out those Ravagers because I have a ton of Shardwalkers. Wolverines are streaming in, but the Storm Riders kill the Wolverines in mass, so it's kind of hard to know what to do as Steel Talons. You can see all these units are working really well together. Tiberium agitation goes down on that harvester, which I do manage to take out. And I have not yet lost a singular Storm Rider. The Marv does fall. A lot more of these tier 1 units are going down as well. He's forced to build them because, yeah, Wolverines, he needs them to counter the Ravagers. Hammerheads are a no-go. There's plenty of Shardwalkers there. I'm really only vulnerable to the MCVs. if he builds a second MCV and pushes. But still tricky now because that's brought me a lot of time to get down my third expansion. Watchtowers being deployed. There's no need to attack. You don't really need to attack. Just keep your units alive. And with the recent changes in R20, you can now benefit from the blue shard upgrade in your Eradicator hex pod. So what I can do here is take some of the Ravager squads that are not full squads, which have already been used in combat, and position them near to my warp chasm and put them in my Eradicator hex pod when that pops out. As Reaper-17, you get a Ravager for selling your warp chasm as is. So I'm just going to rally 2 of these Ravager squads to my warp chasm, sell the warp chasm off when the hex pod comes out, and that will give me the third Ravager to put in my hex, and that's going to benefit from the blue shard upgrade. It even visually shows on the Eradicator hex pod. I spent a lot of time and I wanted to make sure that it looked the part. So the Ravagers are in that hex now, and I'm going to rally that over to my opponent's base. In the top here we see a major attack. There's Marrow tanks, Wolverines, MRTs, Riflemen. There's a lot there. But the Stasis Shield will even out the odds for me. A great stasis use there for me. I'm going to go ahead and take out this refinery with my Ravager special ability. It only takes 4 Ravager squads, though they have to be full squads, because for each member of the Ravager squad that you lose, the less damage that Tib Agitation ability will do. Eradicator Hexpod moving to his base, and now I'm going to move away from this force and engage from a better position. It's a decent choke point this, and I'm going to attack now these units. I see limited anti-infantry forces, so I'm going to start targeting down these Wolverines with my Shardwalkers and Ravagers that I do have. Hexpod moving in there. This Marrow tank is quite threatening, but with no anti-infantry, how is Phoenix going to stop these Ravagers here with the blue shards? There's even a shock trooper which has promoted. That is doing a lot of work there, and these few forces are just going to be able to take out this Marrow tank. There's a lot of damage there. Hexpod in the base, and you can see how much damage these blue shards do inside of that Hexpod, especially against units that are weak to gun damage. Marrow tanks, they take more damage even compared to disintegrators. Heroic shock trooper, so you can see the shock troopers do have a role. Even though Ravagers are an anti-vehicle unit, the shocks are still better suited for killing Marrow tanks. And here I'm demonstrating the DPS you can expect with a triple Ravager blue shard hexapod. It's a great thing to transition into because you've already went for the blue shard Ravager strategy. You've already got Ravagers on the map. That's why I think this specific build and strategy can work really well against Steel Talons. Not on every map, but on maps like this that are open with a lot of terrain to maneuver, maps that Storm Riders can be effective on, I feel like it's a great thing to do. And remember, Phoenix scouted those Storm Riders early. He saw them coming. He had the Firehawks. He had the Pitbulls. But then what did he have against all those Ravagers, against the Shardwalkers? Not a whole lot. And the transitions I made were very effective, especially when I got that Hexpod out. He didn't have a whole lot then to stop that. So yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed this strategy showcase here. Wanted to show you all a strategy that you can do against Steel Talons. You can obviously adapt and make it better, but this is a blueprint for all of you who say that Skrin and Reaper-17 to be exact are weak against GEI and Steel Talons. So yeah, guys, this is going to be Master Leaf, and I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate that, and I'll see you all in the next one.